Hello and welcome to BattleBots Armageddon Season 2. The machinima of robot combat, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, we're here with episode 5 of the Fight Night. And if this is your first time here, then please go back and watch episodes 1 through 4. There's lots of action-packed fights to dig into. And speaking of action-packed fights, we have another beautiful fight card with 16 more robots to be introduced to, with 8 amazing fights. We have some really interesting matchups this time around, such as Texas Twister taking on the only cannon bot in the series, and King B taking on the only pneumatic spike in the series. Meanwhile, we also have some interesting matchups between Quantum and Cannibal, as well as Railgun Max coming back, facing newcomer to Robot Arena 2, Big Dill. This all leads up to our main event, which is Copperhead taking on the number 2 seed from last season, Endgame. That's gonna be a slugfest, I reckon. But let's get started with a different slugfest. We got Blacksmith facing off against Slammo. Both these robots are returning from last season of Armageddon in 2020, and we'll take a look at Blacksmith first, who's very changed from last time. Last time it was just a flaming hammer, and now it's a flaming power hammer. We have a vertical spinner on the top of that hammer, so while Blacksmith struggled to make it in judges' decisions, hopefully this will give it the edge, and I'm looking forward to seeing the power hammer in action. Hope you are as well. It faces off against Slammo, who came very close to making bracket last season, but unfortunately lost a controversial decision to Bombshell in the play-in matches. So they want redemption. They want to come back. They want to dominate this tournament. And to do that, they had to get through Blacksmith first. So let's do this. Let's dive in. Let's get slamming. Slammo. We have Blacksmith. What could happen?
Lammo's starting to fight, typically testing out his weaponry, and immediately puts it to good use on Blacksmith.
Blacksmith looks like it's definitely struggling with the ground game. Unless they get behind it like that, I guess. I think front to front, I'd say Slammo probably has the ground game going. Of course.
Another flip there. Lammo, will we see a party trick, a suplex here on Blacksmith?
Oh, nice flip there at least.
Good throw.
Yeah, they're throwing at least. No suplexes yet, but fight's still early. We're only a minute in about. Oh, he throws himself this time.
Blacksmith now, completely underneath. Takes it to the wall. Big slam there from Blacksmith, getting that power hammer into play. Slammo's stuck, currently upside down. Blacksmith, I think, is trying to take one of the claws off of the top of Slammo.
Yeah, and I mean, that could very well change the course of the fight. You know, Blacksmith has to do some damage. I think that's their key here, because it does seem that Slammo is doing very well at maneuvering and getting underneath Blacksmith. Oh,
position here.
So close.
Close to a suplex, almost close to getting out of the arena as well.
Oh, and Blacksmith capitalizes on Slammo's driving mistake in that vertical spinner. Power hammer, as he calls it. 1 minute left to go, and looks like Blacksmith might be turning this around.
Blacksmith could potentially get Slammo out of the arena here if it could get the power to retract that power hammer.
It looks like, unfortunately, the power hammer can't lift, so. But I mean, I guess it wasn't designed to lift. It was designed to push out big hits, which kind of been doing. Oh, there we go.
So that being said, it certainly would be an interesting predicament for Slammo to have to explain why they got thrown out of the arena by a hammer saw.
Okay.
That would be
Blacksmith
quite something for the highlight reel here. We got 20 seconds remaining.
Slamo definitely has the control going on, but Blacksmith pretty much almost sweeps on damage, I would say. This is definitely very impressive, and we only have 10 seconds left on the clock, and unless something happens with a control board knockout or something, I think this fight is going to go to the judges. This was a great fight with lots of back and forth. In the beginning, it almost seemed like Slamo was going to be dominant throughout this, getting plenty of suplexes. But then Blacksmith dived in and showed them what the power hammer can truly do. It was truly a back and forth, and I couldn't really tell you who won. I mean, I'm thankful that I'm not judging this, but you see you have Blacksmith getting some really good slams on the Slamo, and then meanwhile you have Slamo getting some pretty good hits on Blacksmith. This is truly a fight that everyone should watch, I suppose. But that said, this fight will be going to the judges. And the judges are going to be judging on a 17-point scoring system. 5 points for aggression and control, and 7 points for damage. So I suppose we'll have to see what they think. Also, that final hit there, oh my goodness, crazy. And the judges have come to a unanimous decision, and the winner of this fight is Blacksmith. Very well deserved, but yeah, I don't disagree with that, but that fight really could have gone either way. Blacksmith starts its season strong at 1-0. Slamo, they just gotta keep up the momentum because they had some very impressive moments in this fight for sure. But let's get moving on to our next fight, which is Beta facing off against P1. Beta is new to the world of Robot Arena 2, and I'm very excited to see them here because this is definitely a really cool robot. It has a really powerful hammer, it has a great wedge that can definitely deter some good spinners, and it's just so well driven. I'm looking forward to seeing what it can do, but the robot I really want to highlight here is its opponent, P1, who competed last season, and they did well. They went 3-1 in the fight night. They won their play-in rumble to make the 16 seed. And unfortunately, they did lose to the number 1 seed Black Dragon in the round of 16, but that said, they still did very well that season, and they want to do better this season. They're redesigned, they look better, they drive better, their lifter works better, and they're praising Dale, so how can you not love them? Let's see how this goes. Alright, we have P1, we have Beta. Two very iconic robots. Oh, P1 does a sweet flip. Raising Dale and raising hell. That's what we like to see. And ooh, Beta gets a nice hammer hit.
Intimidator.
Oh, and Beta is upside down. Can they self-right? Can they self... Their wheels aren't touching the ground. I don't know if they can fire their hammer. I think Beta might be out. This would be quite an upset.
Fully extended. I'm not sure if it had the power to extract it back over onto its wheels.
Looks like they're out.
That was a chaotic 20 seconds. And it looks like that it did.
The Spirit of Dale has done it.
And the Intimidator won.
If you blinked, you missed it. I thought that P1 was toast at the beginning there with Beta's hammer, but unfortunately after that first flip, they flipped Beta and put them into an awkward position where they couldn't retract their hammer and got what might be the quickest KO of the season so far, or at least one of them. P1 wins the fight. Very proud of them. They move on to 1-0 to start their season, and Beta has to crawl back from what is honestly kind of an embarrassing loss, but every one of these robots gets at least 4 fights, so there's still hope for you, Beta, and we're hoping for the best. Moving on, we have another fight that involves a British legend. We have Cannibal facing off against Quantum. We saw Quantum last season, and they are easily one of the scariest crushers out there. I do worry about the durability on their end, but I do have high hopes for this robot, and I'm looking forward to see how it performs. Their opponent, however, is a newcomer, Cannibal, which is a horizontal spinner that's on top of a wedge. A new take on the overhead bar spinner, I suppose, and that's bad news for Quantum, considering that they are doing overhead attacks, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. So let's find out. Alright, we have Quantum and the brand new robot, Cannibal. Horizontal spinner versus crusher. Don't know who to go for here, but that spinner is on top, so Quantum's gonna have a hard time crushing without taking some collateral damage.
It will be interesting to see how Quantum handles this brand new machine, Cannibal. Nobody has seen it compete yet. It's in its very first fight. Unique design.
Very unique design. Oh, there we go. Quantum is driving this very precautiously, and that's probably the right call. Oh, he took off a piece of the spinner with that bite.
That brand new blade of Cannibal, it's already been split. You can see.
Wow. Yeah, the Cannibal is very
skittering everywhere
now.
And now Quantum looking to get it out of the arena, which is an insane sentence.
Yeah, but
rushing him down now.
Cannibal's only choice might unfortunately be to stop spinning the blade and just play control bot, but that blade spinning, they have zero control, unfortunately. Quantum's still trying to capitalize on it. They want to break that blade more, I think. Ooh, right into the wall.
Quantum certainly having a very hard time keeping control of this. This robot now. The blade stopped now.
Yeah, I think that's probably their best bet, but unfortunately, they're upside down. Oh, there's a little hit on the Quantum's wedge.
Blade back up to speed now.
It gets thrown into the wall. Oh yeah, I think they gave up the spinning blade now.
Probably the smart.
Oh yeah.
Way to go.
But now Quantum has free reign to bite into them and try to take them out. Fortunately, they're having a hard time getting hang of Cannibal.
Cannibal trying to get its rear flamethrowers into the face of Quantum.
Really good strategy, I'd say, because that's pretty much all they have left is a wedge and a flamethrower. Quantum throws him into the wall. Ooh.
Good ram there from Quantum and Quantum.
Blade again. Uh-oh, this... Oh. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. Oh, they're on the wall. They're on the wall.
They're about to chitter out. Barely get back in. But they're not out of the forest yet.
Yeah, they're... Oh, and
there they are.
With just 30 seconds left on the clock, I think that this is gonna be a knockout.
Cannibal trying to ricochet itself back into the arena, but I'm not sure if it will be able to. Yeah. They weren't out of the forest, but they're certainly out of the arena now.
Now, while there is not a countdown on Cannibal, the fact that they're out of the arena means that they're knocked out, so think of this as sort of an imaginary countdown, because I think that they've hit that KO threshold, and it's a KO. So right out the gate, Quantum drove this fight very, very well, although I was worried that it would catch up with them eventually with the deadly horizontal spinner, but they proved me wrong pretty early on by biting a piece of the horizontal spinner off, and for the remainder of the fight, Cannibal was just kind of unbalanced, and Quantum was able to just have a good old time and push him into walls and control the entire fight. And that they did indeed, and it was definitely a wonderful performance on Quantum's end. And then eventually, Quantum knocked Cannibal out of the arena and they weren't able to get back in, and they took the dub. I'm very proud of Quantum for this. This was a very good performance, and I'm proud of them for proving me wrong. Quantum moves on to 1-0, and Cannibal, they gotta figure some stuff out. They gotta figure out the durability of that spinner and all that. But we got some more durable spinners hopefully coming up. We have Huge facing off against Scorpios. potential dream matchup. I don't know. Maybe. Both these robots are legends in the sport for sure. Huge, unfortunately, didn't make the bracket last season, but they had some shining moments, and they are a fantastic machine. I mean, they're a meta-breaking robot that is definitely difficult to approach from certain angles. That said, its opponent Scorpios might have the angle needed. Scorpios made the round of 16 last season, and they're definitely a well-oiled machine with their articulating vertical spinner, which could hit Huge's chassis, so it is possible that Scorpios could pull this off, but I really don't know which way to predict this because I feel that both robots have a lot of potential in this, so let's find out. We have Scorpios and Huge, a dream matchup if there ever was one. Not sure what to take away from this. I mean, in theory, Scorpio should be able to at least hit the chassis of Huge.
It's definitely an issue that a lot of the robots have, of being able to make direct contact with the body of Huge. Due to how tall and up in the air it is, Scorpio's one of the few that can. Went for the wheel there.
Scorpio's just kind of waiting to get in. Oh, a little bit of a hit there.
But the blade on Huge has its own advantage over Scorpio. It's very unique. It can hit Scorpios right on the top of its weapon. It can rip that whole arm off very easily.
But also Scorpios could damage a body, maybe knock it out. That's their best bet, I would say. But it does seem like they're both getting some decent hits like that. Like, who do you give that hit to? Kind of a little bit of both. Oh, and there's a piece of Huge's spinner that got ripped off. But little bits of Scorpio's also getting ripped off, so...
That's certainly right, you are, Party. There is parts of Scorpios all over the floor, but yeah, half of Huge's weapon, it's a double-stacked blade. Half of it went missing there after that contact.
Scorpios is capitalizing. They're getting some hits in.
Scorpios, I think, is losing a few teeth on that spinner.
Oh yeah, they definitely are, but they're at least making the best of a bad situation, which I gotta give them credit for sure.
Certainly all you can do in a situation like this is to just keep going forward, keep striking, keep being aggressive.
Definitely being aggressive, and oh, that was a decent hit onto Huge. More of those, they might have something going on there. We have a little over a minute left in the match, and and the weapon comes off.
Dick just came off. It blew the whole weapon out. The Dick was missing all of its teeth at the end there, and now it's completely missing. Scorpio needs to somehow try to use its arm to get Huge out of the arena, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, Scorpios is staying aggressive. And it looks like they're using their arm sort of as like a way to push Huge around by keeping it up, which is pretty clever strategy if I do say so myself. But
absolutely, using the severed arm as like a grappling hook almost.
Push on
Not
Huge.
too unsimilar to a few other competitors.
Huge gets a nice hit there. Oh, and now they're fornicating a little bit.
There goes the whole arm now. Not much of it left.
Now it's a wedge pretty much. And Huge bounces over it.
Huge with throwing itself off of Scorpio. Scorpio's taking it to the wall now. And time is out.
Both robots in this displayed incredible driving for sure, and unfortunately it just proved that even with an articulated spinner, Huge is a difficult opponent to prepare for. Though they did have some good hits for sure. But as it progressed, Huge just kept knocking more pieces off of Scorpios, and unfortunately that seemed to be their downfall. But with that said, even losing its spinner, Scorpios remained aggressive throughout the entire fight. And since it went the whole 3 minutes, I mean, this fight could really go either way. I don't really know who won this, to be honest. But thankfully, we got 3 judges judging on the 17-point system to make that decision for us, and I am very thankful for them. And we have a split decision. Judge Green Square scored the battle for Scorpios. Judge Zaza scored the battle for Huge. And the one and only Judge Smurf scored this battle for the winner. Huge. And I can't say that I disagree, but man, that fight was exciting. I was on the edge of my seat for that one for sure. Huge starts the season off strong, but Scorpio needs not to fret because they just put on an incredible fight, and that was so much fun to watch. One of my favorite fights of the season so far for sure. But that's okay. We'll move on to our next fight, which is Railgun Max from China versus America's Big Dill. Railgun Max returns again from last season, and they did okay last season. I mean, that egg beater spinner is definitely one of my favorites. I mean, I'm a big fan of the egg beater in general, and Railgun Max is just such a fun robot from a fun team, and I'm happy that they're back. I'm happy to see them here, and I'm hoping to see some destruction from them for sure. But can they destroy their first opponent, Big Dill, which is making its Robot Arena 2 debut? Maybe. Big Dill comes bearing lifting forks, which are definitely at a disadvantage against a vertical spinner, but at the same time, you know, one flip and a robot can be done sometimes, so we're just gonna have to see how durable they are, how well driven they are, and if Big Dill can overcome the vertical spinner. Alright, we have Big Dill and Railgun Max. Two very different robots for sure.
Absolutely. The lifting forks.
Lifting forks, yep. Pickles.
And the spinner.
So the pickles being asked to do it. Railgun Max, it wasn't the strongest bow last year, but it certainly had its moments. Wouldn't want to get in front of that spinner, especially if I was a lifted bot.
Big Dill's already lost a little bit of one of those pickle spears on the front.
Yeah, they're definitely in a pickle here.
Right you are, Bori.
Oh!
Big flip there.
Big flip right there, yeah.
Trying to get it out.
Oh,
very nearly done so.
It's like trying to get a pickle out of the jar. They're just trying to flip them out of the arena. Oh, but Railgun gets a nice hit there on the behind of Dill. It seems that Big Dill at least has the ground game going for it.
The only thing it had going for it, really, because it doesn't have a lot of damage it can do, but it does seem to be driving at least a little bit better for now than Railgun, but not good driving, losing more of that beer.
Yeah, it's they're gonna have to make some big moves. They're gonna have to drive this fight really well to make a comeback, I feel.
That's really Railgun.
The fight, but we'll see.
Half of the fight now in the books.
Ooh, more pickle.
Minute 30 left to go. Big Dill is losing chunks of his lifter by the second here.
Oh, Railgun's got a good position on Big Dill. Oh, get off.
Railgun ending up directly under Big Dill. Big Dill went right over it there. Another hit there from
And now with those pickle spears gone, it appears that Railgun has achieved the ground game now. Because those wedges on Big Dill don't seem to really be doing all. Oh, it's up there. They rip off another
half of the arm is now gone on Big Dill. It's only got one fork left. There's not much left on that fork.
Yeah.
The team from China, certainly, they very well be running away with this in a judging decision.
Oh, but they're out of the arena. Can Railgun Max get back in? Railgun Max might be in trouble here. I think Big Dill might have done it. What a comeback. That was incredible.
Fantastic driving on behalf of Big Dill. Railgun is wedged at an angle. No wheels are touching the ground. It cannot get over the wall. And this
they're
is
out. What a comeback. Both robots definitely started out strong in this fight, but I definitely thought that Railgun Max had the edge because they kept getting some pretty good hits and they were doing damage to Big Dill. While Big Dill did absolutely get their flips in, for the most part it did seem like Railgun Max had the advantage with all the big hits that it was getting. And this just proves that a fight can truly go either way, even when Railgun Max ripped off the majority of Big Dill's lifting arm. It didn't matter because the remainder of it was used to flip Railgun Max out of the arena where it couldn't get out. Big Dill did a great job. They move on to 1-0. Railgun Max has to rethink their strategy and perhaps improve their driving game a little bit as they sink to a negative record, but they can bounce back. Next up, we have Texas Twister and Double Jeopardy. Well, isn't that exciting? We have Double Jeopardy. We have Texas Twister. Double Jeopardy getting 2 wins last season. Same with Texas Twister. These are pretty level ground robots. Double Jeopardy with its cannon shooting at Texas Twister, but that spinner is pretty scary. Just shooting at him. It's like Streets 112 and GoldenEye.
As Double Jeopardy says, the Fifth Amendment may not apply in the BattleBots, but the Second Amendment certainly does. The cannon on the front of Double Jeopardy, taking away at Texas Twister here. I'm not sure
Texas Twister makes a piece off of Double Jeopardy.
Double Jeopardy with that insane spinner on the front of it.
Double Jeopardy.
Texas Twister, rather. My apologies.
Well, I mean, it did have an insane spinner on it, but it was Texas Twister tearing it apart.
Absolutely, that's why. Man, we're excited, alright? That's just what it is. Anyways.
It is.
These two.
Double Jeopardy, they're looking worn for wear, but they're definitely... Oh, another piece comes off of it. Their top plate. Now we got some exposed internals, my favorite.
Definitely could be an issue. Texas Twister's blade could make contact with Double Jeopardy's air tank on that cannon. Cause some horrific effects.
Double Jeopardy gets flipped over. But Texas Twister rides him. That could have been an easy win for them, but I think Double Jeopardy is just about done anyway, because they're starting to smoke, and Double Jeopardy is out. Texas Twister wins. So unfortunately, the bullets didn't seem to do a whole lot to Texas Twister, but Double Jeopardy did showcase some good driving and aggression at least, pushing Texas Twister into the wall multiple times. But that said, it was still taking a lot of collateral damage from that spinner, and unfortunately, it eventually just meant the fate of Double Jeopardy, and Texas Twister ended up winning. Texas Twister starts off with 1-0, and Double Jeopardy, well, we'll see. Next up, we have 2 interesting and kinda similar robots. We have King Bee Powerhouse taking on Bale Spear. King B is here, and I'm a big fan of King Buxton for sure. I mean, I'm sure we all are from their reign in Robot Wars and all that. Well, they're here and they're ready to take on the world of Robot Arena 2 and BattleBots Armageddon 2. But their first opponent is a similarly shaped robot in Bale Spear, which is the only pneumatic spike left in the competition as far as I know. And is it an outdated weapon type? Yeah, probably, but it's fascinating that they're going for it. Can they keep the pneumatic spike alive? Let's find out. Now we got Bale Spear, we got King B. Oh, King B immediately box rushes Bale Spear.
King B Powerhouse. A fantastically aggressive machine, however, Bale Spear isn't well. It's in a battle of
King
two.
B gets a flip.
Very
I was worried about the ground game. I was worried about the lack of ground game, but they're getting underneath Bale Spear. I guess it helps that Bale Spear doesn't have any ground game either, so... Oh, the Bale Spear starts poking. That's
probably coming out with jabs.
Oh,
We got some more jabs. Let's go. Got Bale Spear going up. Oh, the King Bee is having a hard time lifting Bale Spear. I'll drive backwards and Bale Spear is just kind of trying to jab some more.
King Bee staying aggressive for sure, though, in the face of issues, though. Bale Spear flips it over. The lifting forks will no longer be of use for King Bee.
Yeah, King Bee being upside down, that might spell trouble for them, unfortunately. Bale Spear continues to poke. Oh, almost flipped over. Driving around, trying to figure something out. Oh, slams Bale Spear into a wall. That was a very good hit on King Bee's part. Very impressive. Bale Spear just poking and poking. I don't know how it is. And King Bee getting underneath. Oh, they finally self-right. Now King Bee can maybe bounce back from this.
They
got more pokes from Bale Spear. Bale Spear just poking and poking. Poke. Oh! And King Bee just does a somersault over Bale Spear.
Unique self-righting method, but it worked.
Did work.
King Bee back on the attack here.
Bale Spear just trying to poke King Bee by any way possible. I mean, these spots are very similar. You know, they're both, you know, four-wheel drive. Like, they're basically both monster trucks, honestly.
And so, two very powerful drive trains we're seeing here from King Bee, pushing Bale Spear around. Two unorthodox weaponry as well.
You both have very unorthodox weapons. Bale Spears, they haven't stopped poking. A pneumatic spear it exists, for sure.
King Bee almost ended up over the wall there. Bale Spear now trying to line it up again. King Bee finally getting himself back over, right side up, making a run at Bale Spear against the wall.
It's the struggle.
Now trying to get under it.
Oh! A piece of King Bee's weapon comes off. Oh, that's crazy. With 10 seconds left, I think this is going to go to the judges. And quite frankly, I don't know who has this one. Bale Spear getting a few last pokes in, and it is over.
This was an exciting fight, and I had a lot of fun watching it. It was like watching like an episode of Monster Jam or something. Just both big-wheeled robots just crawling all over each other. Bale Spear getting pokes in. Unfortunately, King Bee seemed to have some struggles getting some bite with their lifting arm, and fortunately flipped themselves over more than they flipped over Bale Spear. And that said, I think that Bale Spear might have a slight advantage, at least in the damage category, because it managed to poke off some of King Bee's front lifter. However, this is a close one, and the judges have come to a decision. It is a unanimous decision. And the winner is Bale Spear. Congratulations, Bale Spear. Bale Spear starts off its season at 1-0. You love to see it. But let's move on to a higher profile matchup, I suppose. Our main event. We have Copperhead. We have Endgame. This is the fight I've always wanted to see, and now I finally get to see it. I'm very excited. So, let's check it out. Let's start off with Copperhead. They didn't do that hot last season. They had a few wins, but they didn't really make waves. But they're totally redesigned, and this new version is gnarly. I'm looking forward to seeing this one in the arena and fighting. This is gonna be really exciting. But they got a really tough opponent for their first try out. I mean, they have Endgame, who was the number 2 seed of Armageddon last season, going 4-0 in the fight cards, which is only something that 4 robots could claim last season. That said, it made the quarterfinals before losing to the semifinalist Lockjaw, and Endgame is also new and improved this season with a better design, better weapon, drives better. Both these robots are improved tenfold, and I'm sure this is bound to be an absolute slugfest, and I'm really excited for it.
Alright, we have Endgame and Copperhead. This one, I'm assuming, is going to be a slugfest for sure.
Absolutely, there's going to be some huge vertical on vertical weapon hits here, and immediately Endgame just lost a little bit of its disc.
Ooh, but Endgame is definitely doing good with the control here.
Correct, Endgame certainly has the better ground clearance here. Part of
Copperhead
Copper's drumming going.
They're both losing their weapon. Oh, and Endgame just lost some wheels, and it's one of its forks. This could be Copperhead's redemption. Oh, they took off another fork. And, oh, Endgame got underneath.
Prediction of this being a slugfest, certainly it's already been correct. There are pieces of both machines all over the arena floor already, we're not even a minute in.
And Endgame's missing 2 of its 4 wheels on its one side. Endgame can't even drive straight at this point. Oh, big hit from Copperhead. Oh, baby.
Almost taking Endgame directly to the ceiling.
Endgame is not looking good. I think that they're going to need a miracle to get this knockout, unfortunately.
I think it would take some very haphazard driving out of Copperhead for it to veer into that blade and end this fight.
But I think Copperhead pretty much has it. Endgame's slowing down.
Endgame's
and we had the kill shot.
Weapon.
Endgame is out.
I predicted that this fight was going to be a slugfest, and I was right. Right from the get-go, Endgame was getting huge hits on Copperhead and sending them flying, and they were even taking some damage from there. They even ripped off most of Copperhead's disc. Copperhead ripped off some forks off of Endgame and parts of its disc. Both robots were definitely punch-drunk in this fight, and Copperhead even managed to get 2 wheels off of Endgame, giving them only half of their drive, and I think from there that was kind of a death sentence for Endgame. Even with only a little bit of its drum left, Copperhead managed to just deliver huge hit after huge hit, and eventually it ended up being fatal for Endgame, and Copperhead took the win, and no complaints there. Copperhead starts off with 1-0, and Endgame unfortunately is not gonna have an undefeated Fight Night Armageddon record. But that said, that fight was incredible, so I'm looking forward to seeing the futures of both of these robots in this season. With that said, that's the end of this show, and I thank you for watching. Subscribe and like the video if you're into it, and stay tuned because we've got a long road to go. We'll be back again next week with 8 more action-packed fights. Same bot time, same bot network. Stay famous, y'all.
Let's go!